It's okay to be scared as long as you're doing the right thing. Festival of the Living Dead is a Tubi original directed by the Soska sisters, who have done movies like Rabid, the 2019 version, also Vendetta, American Mary, and See No Evil 2, Electric. How the fuck did we get Glenn Jacobs to come back here and do this? Boogaloo. Glenn Jacobs, who was better seen and not heard because, oh boy, oh goddamn boy. Kane was so much better when he just hit people with choke slams, tombstones, set people on fire, made them go higher into the sun. If you're a non-wrestling fan, you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about, but the Soska sisters are known for doing fairly modest budgeted horror movies that gained some attention. I remember liking American Mary, and I still need to check out the 2019 version of Rabid. I remember liking the original, so hopefully that one's good. But this is Festival of the Living Dead, which is written by two people. Miriam Liapin, who, this is her feature credit, and also Helen Marsh. Not Stan Marsh's long-lost aunt. Maybe, kinda, I don't know. Who knows? Could be Stan Marsh's long-lost aunt, because everything in entertainment bleeds into the real world, where it still will not stop hassling Rob Thomas. What am I on about? I don't know. She's done movies like Deadly Midwife and others. Check out the respective IMDb pages for the full list of their work. And this stars Ashley Moore as Ash. That's creative. Also fitting that I have that shirt back there to remind you of Ash in another horror movie. And also Cameron Bikondova, who plays Iris, who doesn't want the world to see her because we know that she dies in the end. That was Meg Ryan. Let's move on. They're two best friends that end up at a festival celebrating the original attack in 1968 to commemorate the victims of the Living Dead apocalypse. You remember the George Romero version that was really popular, and then you had the 1990 version. This was after Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead Part 2, before Return of the Living Dead Part 3, that I remember had a really hot brunette, and that's about it. And also the various other Return of the Living Dead incarnations. Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave is one that sticks out in my mind. And also has a certain part that is plucked or plunged into this. Kind of, sort of, but not really. So it's the continuation of the seemingly never-ending Living Dead / Return of the Living Dead zombie sub-genre. And yeah, pretty much right there you get some friends, some teens, played by at least early 20-somethings, and a rock concert that's interrupted by the Living Dead. Why is the Living Dead attacking? Well, it turns out there's a meteorite, a moon rock, oh wow, that comes down. And yeah, that's causing people to turn into the Living Dead, I guess. There are a few reasons as to why the Living Dead could be popping up. Maybe because they just needed to milk this goddamn franchise until it was bone dry. Even though it was bone dry by Return of the Living Dead Part 3. So, yeah, when it comes to Tubi originals, you'll get something entertaining, maybe shockingly good. You'll get something kind of okay. You'll get something abysmal, but at least entertaining. Or you're going to get something like this that actually kind of gives you a false sense of hope in the beginning with a fairly entertaining, if not bit, typical, pop, rock, alternative rock opening, introducing the characters, doing montage stuff, and doing funny comedy. Introducing the characters gradually before about 10 or so minutes in, we get violence, and then we get stupidity, and then every character decides not to act like a human at all. Ironic, considering this is about the Living Dead. And I didn't expect much from a movie titled Festival of the Living Dead. I just wanted to be entertained. I just wanted some entertaining moments. I didn't want a movie to go off the goddamn rails and drag and drag and drag with some makeup effects. While I'm sure everybody tried, these makeup effects were not very good. They weren't. They were very atypical. In fact, I think the makeup effects in Return of the Living Dead Part 3 were probably better. And that movie looked ultra fucking cheap. My God, even the Night of the Living Dead 68 version looked better than Return of the Living Dead Part 3. I said Return of the Living Dead Part 3 so much, it's lost all meaning. There's also two sisters that are in this that end up being victims. Sorry, there's going to be spoilers, especially a little bit later on, but spoiling a movie called Festival of the Living Dead. If you can't figure out where this movie's going, I don't know what to tell you. Also, there's a tie into the 1968 version. A tie that basically is practically cutting off the circulation to every artery that you have because it's trying to basically just tie this in. We're just going to do this and there we force that in. Yeah, also there's friendships being tested in a bad relationship, and people decide to have discussions among the zombie apocalypse, which, yes, I understand that you might want to have discussions, but maybe we could focus on certain things like the impending doom of about 100 people attacking. It's really not that much of a zombie apocalypse. I think there were more zombies in the 68 version, and I'm sorry they look better because there were some makeup effects that were I guess halfway okay, and then there were points where the zombies were attacking, and there weren't even fucking people in makeup. Did they hack this thing out in a fucking weekend? What the shit? There's actual talent behind the camera and a little bit of talent in front of the camera, and yeah, Festival of the Living Dead. Not expecting much, especially since we're coming up on the near 60-year anniversary of this whole thing happening. But what the fuck? Also, there's this drug called Living Death that kind of ties back to Rave to the Grave, because I recall correctly that people were using some kind of chemical to get high, and then they got high, and then they got high. And yeah, not good. Not good at all. I mean, check it out if you want. Tubi's an ad-based streaming service where you get shit for free. Again, the Soska Sisters have done good stuff in the past. This wasn't one of them. It wasn't even entertaining in a stupid way. It was just stupid in a stupid way. Yeah, let's get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Yeah, most people die, basically. There's a character, Ty, that is absolutely so obviously a full-on dick. There's a character named Kevin, played by Gage Marsh. That must have been really goddamn confusing, by the way. Maybe we need Marsh on set. Me Marsh or he Marsh? She Marsh. Warrior of the Swamp. I would have actually rather watched a marsh creature. It would have been better than Man-Thing. Yeah, in case it sounds like I'm just not necessarily meandering, but just not taking it seriously. Well, if this movie's not going to take itself seriously, yet also take itself way too fucking seriously at the same time. Not even in a hokey way where it's entertaining. This movie just ends up being a draining experience. And lacking brains. Ironic, again, because it's about the living dead. So, it turns out that Ash, her grandfather, was Ben. They got shot in the end of the 1968 version. Spoilers, sorry, it's been out for years. And then, who Tony Todd played. Well, an incarnation of in the 1990 version. That was actually pretty good overall. Actually, one of the better versions. One of the many movies where Tony Todd plays either something undead or possessed. Tony Todd tends to get that role a lot, doesn't he? So, yeah, the montage part and the part in the house is okay. There's a little brother, Luke. The kid's okay, I guess. He does fine. They end up getting in a wreck. Well, most of them do. Iris stays behind with Luke, and also there's this guy, Blaze, who's in a wheelchair. They kind of strike up a friendship. And then they're just doing whatever. They're just getting high, and then they got high. And then, well, Ash's boyfriend, Kevin, gets in an accident, and the two sisters, and one ends up with a concussion, one ends up with a broken leg. One named Destiny, I believe, ends up with the concussion. I think Lindsay ends up with the broken leg. And gee, I wonder what's going to happen. By the way, they end up getting an accident because they got in a goddamn... They managed to hit a zombie. Then the zombie attacked. In a movie called Festival of the Living Dead. What the fuck? So, Luke says, hey, let's just go. Hey, Blaze, you have a food delivery truck. He's in a wheelchair. How does he have a food delivery truck? You know what? Never mind. Let us just go because they deliver lettuce. Do you get it? That's about the level of humor you're going to get in this. Hey, we're wasting time here. Boy, howdy, were they ever. And, hey, we've gotten an accident, but take some of this Living Death stuff. It'll make you feel better, make you trip balls. Because apparently this Living Death stuff is somewhat tied to the meteorites that have fallen in this field. I think. They don't really totally get into that, and not that it necessarily matters. That's where the Raid to the Grave part comes in. The festival was still going while people were being attacked for some reason. And then some rockers get attacked. Not Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, even though they both look like the undead at this point. And yeah, Destiny is totally fucked. They run out of gas, like the truck does, the big truck, delivering the lettuce. And then people start to die because people are dumb and bad at everything. Then there's a point where they're in this flop house-like thing. They yell at each other while there's an impending zombie apocalypse going on. Kevin gets attacked, and says, 2 of you have guns, use them. Or someone shoot him. Someone use whatever. Someone shoot him. Oh no, Chris and Carrie Von Erich, no. And then pretty much everybody ends up dying in really stupid ways. Ty decides that he's just going to end up sacrificing Kevin. I think they're brothers, or they're brothers from other mothers. They threw out a lot of shit that I just tuned out of at this point because this movie was not good. And the stupidest thing, or one of the stupidest things in this movie, because there's a lot. Luke is diabetic. I mean, that's kind of dumb just to put that plot point in there. They're going to go to an ambulance. Well, Ash is going to go to an ambulance. Iris goes to help her, and then they have this argument because Ash became popular. And Iris felt like she was left behind. She's like, I was doing high school the right way, doing drugs and hanging out with popular people. That's not what you're supposed to do in high school. You're supposed to do what you want to do. It's like that Vitamin C song that's now stuck in my head. Not trying to hum it along. Ash feels bad for what she said because Iris ends up going missing after sacrificing her by using road flares. And then Ash manages to get an EpiPen and a few things out of this goddamn deal. Destiny bit Kevin. Kevin dies, but then starts shooting people because I guess he's not dead yet. Well, not fully undead yet. And then they take a break. Oh. They end up under this stage where Iris is attacking people with a guitar. She attacked people with a guitar. Then they end up boom, 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 boom. You know, like there's this big old statue, Burning Man thing, architecture deal that they're going to burn. Some of the worst fire effects I've seen this side of Children of the Corn 2020 that came out last year, because that should have sat on the shelf. Much like this. Sorry, I know there are people that probably put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. No, this was not good. This was not good. This was the first draft. God forbid that needed a second draft. And this is a second draft. You should have thrown this away. Again, Festival of the Living Dead. Not exactly something that I would expect to be good, but goddamn. Ty is infected. Iris is playing guitar. There's this point where her and Ash have this heart-to-heart under the stage to get weapons. Nice of the zombies to take a break while they're under the stage. And also, a little bit earlier, when Ash and Blaze, I believe, the guy in the wheelchair, and her brother gain the EpiPen thing or whatever, they're fine. They're fine now. But the zombies just took a break. Apparently, they can't go through caves. But then they go through caves later when they're attacking Ty, and nothing makes any sense. I'm applying too much logic to this, but when you're trying to take yourself seriously, what the fuck? Blaze gets left. Ty then ends up getting shot because Luke is like, you're going to turn, so I'm going to shoot you. And then suddenly there's this radio station. This radio station's playing something. It's like public broadcast. Just before Ty gets shot, they say, yeah, the government's going to bomb this whole thing with drones. Or drone, like, strikes and stuff like that. And then, like, within 3 minutes, they're doing that. But, fortunately, Blaze stays behind because he got bit, I guess, somehow. They couldn't show it. There were people without zombie makeup effects attacking because they ran out of money or something. I don't know what the fuck that was. Do camera tricks. Do something. And then Luke saves them, and then the stuff gets bombed, and I guess everything's fine? I don't fucking know. I just felt like mocking this because while it started out promising, and it could have been at least entertaining, it wasn't. This was really, really bad. It gets an F. I'm sorry. It gets an F. I wish nothing but the best for the cast going forward. But this was terrible. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.